Hi, my name is Jim Bella. Welcome back to our channel. Today's video, we're going to be showing you how to replace the gear motor on a UTS salt spreader. But before we get going, please like, subscribe, become part of that Snow Dog, Salt Dog family. Now let's look at the tools we need to get the job done. All right, so some of the tools that you're going to need to replace the gear motor. Of course, we have our drill driver with a 5/16 socket on there. We also have a screwdriver. We also have an Allen wrench for the bearing, of course a hammer. Also, we have a drift pin. And we also have a 3/4 inch wrench, a 3/4 socket, and then a 9/16 ratchet wrench, and then of course a 9/16 socket with an extension to actually get to the gear motor. Of course we need the gear motor, and then especially of course we need our safety glasses too. So let's get this cover off and get that gear motor off. Now that you know the tools that we're going to need for the job, what I want you to do is do a little quick overview of what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to take the cover off. We're going to get to the gear motor. We're going to take the gear motor off, but we have an auger in here, so we're going to have to disconnect that, pull some power, then we're going to replace it with the new gear motor. Also, before we start anything today, make sure you have your safety glasses on, make sure everything's unplugged, no power is going to this. We don't want any injuries out there. So let's go ahead and take this cover off. All right, so we have a couple sheet metal screws. You'll need a 5/16 drive to get those out. Also, there's a couple down here too underneath. And then you have a few, looks like 3/8 of bolts we gotta take out too. Also, don't forget we have the electrical connectors on the other side that we gotta disconnect from the cover before we take the cover off. Then, again, this is on a skid. So this is a little easier for me, but some of you guys that are in the field and then salt has, gone through the spreader, it's not going to be as easy. So make sure you soak things down with a blaster, liquid wrench, something to make it a little bit easier. You're going to have to blow things out. And again, make sure everything's safe. Make sure you have your safety glasses on, and then all the power is shut down. So let's get these covers off. All right, now we got the screws loosened up and out. We're going to just take the cover off. And there's the gear motor. What we have to do now is lift the cover up here so we get access to the gear mounter mounting bolts. So, but before we take those bolts out, we're going to have to take this screen off, and then so we get access to it with the tools. All right, so before we take the gear motor off, what we have to do is take the bolt out that attaches the gear motor to the auger. So we'll use a 3/4 inch wrench and socket to loosen the bolt and then take it off. All right, so we're going to take these 3 bolts out. I got 2 of them out and the last one's right there. So we're going to take this last bolt out, then the gear motor should slide out, and then we'll get it replaced. All right, so we got the motor off. Now what we can see in there is a white nylon sleeve. So when we put the motor back in, we got to be careful that this sleeve doesn't push in. You only can push in so far, so we want to keep that lined up a little bit, with the hole. So let's go take the bracket off the motor and swap it out. All right, so we got the gear motor out and we have our new gear motor. The new gear motor will always have an orange sticker on it. So that's the one we're going to replace it with. The older one has a silverish white sticker on it. Of course, I'll show you a little bit later on it. Then we talked about tools we need. At the beginning, sometimes I might have to hook up this battery to make the gear motor move just a little bit to get to the set screws. So what you want to do is, there's actually 2 set screws in here, which you want to get at to loosen them up. There's some access holes that you can get to them, but if you can't get to them, you'd want to hook up your harness and just bump it and just turn this a little bit so you get access to the set screws. All right, after you loosen the set screws, what we want to do is, again, you have some access holes here, and you just want to take your 9/16 socket. I'm using a 3/8 because it fits right in, and we want to loosen the mounting bolts to the bracket. And once they're loosened, we'll just take this and put it on our new gear motor, and we'll go from there. All right, we switched over the bracket, tighten the set screws, tighten down the 4 mounting bolts to the bracket. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide it into the nylon sleeve, and then we're gonna get that 1/2-inch bolt through and get it lined up. All right, so we're gonna put the gear motor on, but a little trick is we have this nylon seat that will move a little bit and it'll get really frustrating. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the bolt in there, just a few threads. Hopefully this will make it so I'll slide the shaft in and it won't shove in, it'll stay in place, and then I just take the bolt and stick it in then. So right now I just put in for a few threads. All right, so we got the motor in. I started the screw for the sleeve. Again, you might have to turn the auger a little bit to line it up. Also, before we put that gear motor in, we had to feed the wires through to the access hole on the other side. So right now we're gonna get the 3 mounting bolts in and go from there. All right, so we got the 3 mounting bolts in for the gear motor, and also we tighten the bolt up for the auger. So it's all tightened up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the screen on, put the little cover on, then we're gonna get this other cover on, and we'll finish it up here. All right, so I closed the lid. Now I'm just trying to put all the covers back on. And make sure to slide them properly in place. Also, a good thing is to take a picture before you start of how actually the covers go. So, and what goes where, so. All right, I'm gonna put this on, and then that should do it. Well, there you have it, the replacement of the gear motor on all electric UTSs. So, don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe, become part of that Snow Dog, Salt Dog family. Also, if you have any questions, check out our website, buyersproducts.com. Give us a call, email us, go to one of our distributors. Now go buy a dog and chase the storm.